Kenny Leon, director of Fences. This play is Tony royalty. It won Best Play, and it's 1980s production with James Earl Jones, and he won Best Actor. This is a sold-out hit production. How is this different from that?
Well, it's hard to talk about how is it different from that, but I've directed a play. This is the 5th time I've directed it, and every time I've directed it's been different. And I always tell folks, I say, if you saw it in '87 and if you see it now, if you're a 25-year-old who, this is your first time seeing it, I want the play to feel like a world premiere to you, and I want it to feel like a world premiere to the person who saw it in '87. So if I can have it play as a world premiere for both groups, then I think we're successful.
Still, it has to be different artistically somehow. How is Denzel different from James Earl Jones?
I don't know how he's different than James Earl Jones. I just know that this is what makes this production great is the fact that Denzel has a physical, if you will, athletic approach to the role, and he demands honesty and authenticity so much, and that Viola Davis and I've worked together 2 or 3 times, and Viola is she approaches things very authentic and very raw. So you have a very physical, raw, honest production that you can't get away from. And this play is built on the relationship of the 2 people that are married. So, for instance, if you saw James Earl Jones and Mary Alice, that play was built on that relationship, that chemistry. James Earl Jones is, big and overwhelming, and Mary Alice have a kind of staccato rhythm working for her. When I work with Denzel and Viola, it's all built on the joy of the marriage, the humor of the marriage, the lifeblood upstairs in their bedroom, and their raw physical approach to the work. And neither one of them let another person get away with lying to them. So you have these 2 people leading this production off, and then you have the rest of the cast that is so gifted. And you have people like Russell Hornsby, who's a leading man, and he's playing a very small role. But because he's so good in that role, you learn more about Denzel's Troy or Chris Chalk's Corey because of what he does in that role. Also, what's different about this production is I always wanted the play to live during the transitions. So often people produce this play and it's like end of scene 1, lights out. End of scene 2, lights out. And what I want to do is keep it alive. So I've extended the kitchen so that when Rose goes into the house, life goes on, I've had Branford Marcellus add some music there to entertain us, to keep that alive. So I've tied all that glue together, but it's all woven through Denzel's Troy and Viola's Rose. So it's all about that love, that joy, that fire, but it has an edge that other productions of this play doesn't have.
The set that you've built is fun, too, because we don't see it, the perspective from the audience, but the stories in the Broadway community are interesting when they get out about, it's a steep pitch you've got there, right?
Yeah, we got a little rake.
And the day I saw it, the guy playing the son was replaced because the original had a back problem because of the pitch or something. Theoretically, somebody could just fall off that into the laps of the front row.
No,
right?
No one can fall off of that. It's just it's a rake that has the contour of a backyard, so it has a lot of little slopes, little areas. And the original Corey, Chris, he didn't hurt himself because of the back. He just hurt himself because he had a little tender muscle on his right side that was acting up, and the rake didn't help that. But the night you saw it, when Jason went on, he was so excited to be on stage. His parents were in town, and he has a brother who's in Enron, the other bro. So his parents came to town from Texas, and they got to see both their boys on stage in Broadway shows. So he ran out, and he just fell almost into the audience lap. But so far, no one has fallen, into the audience.
You have an intimate relationship with August Wilson. You directed his last 2 original plays, right?
His last 2 Broadway plays.
Last 2 Broadway plays, and then, of course, have done this now. What was he like?
August was the most incredible artist and man that I know. He was just, he was tenacious. He would say, I wrote the play, now you direct it. He didn't want anyone, he wanted everyone to work as hard as he worked. And so I've learned that. So when I go into rehearsal hall from day one, When I'm sitting there with Denzel Washington and Viola Davis, and what I told them, I said, "You're not going to outwork me. I'm going to give you everything I got." And Denzel gave everything he had, and Viola gave everything she has. And what I say to folks now is like one of the most incredible stage actors that I know. I didn't say film actors. One of the most incredible stage actors that I know is Denzel Washington, because no one will ever outwork him. He's given his life's blood on that stage, and every night to see folks come in there and laugh and cry and walk out of the theater thinking, I'm like, wow, that's not just a film actor up there. That's an actor. And he and Viola, they're having the time of their lives because they're giving all they got, you know, and they're working in the same way that August worked, you know. He thought this was an important play. He thought he had something to say, and I think the actors are honoring that and delivering that.
You have a history, too, of taking on African-American classic plays with celebrity cast and making them smash hits. I'm talking about Raisin in the Sun, of course. And what was interesting with Raisin was Phylicia Rashad became, I think, the first African-American actress to win a Tony in that category. It was a breakthrough there.
Right. Now, isn't that a shame about America?
Unbelievable, I know. And well, it still hasn't happened at the Emmys, by the way. No African-American actress has ever won Best Drama Actress still.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's like when Lena Horne died the other day. I said, didn't Lena Horne win leading actress? I guess she didn't.
Yeah,
it's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So I love working on Raisin in the Sun, and two quick things about that. You know, I remember offering the role to Phylicia Rashad, and she says, "No, Kenny, I'm going to pass on that because I'm not that old yet." And I said, "Phylicia, reread the play. Reread the play. So many times as artists, and especially African American artists, we don't read the plays. We try to just produce what we saw back then, and it's like, read the play. The woman is young. She's 50, 55 years old. She's full of life. She's sexy, just like you." And what Phylicia did after she read it, she said, "You're right," and she made that her own. And the other story is that, you know, folks always give me a little stuff about P. Diddy playing Walter Lee, and what I found is that P. Diddy, he was born in the inner city. He lived in the inner city. He understood that role better than almost any actor that has approached it because he grew up in the inner city. He also has lived the other side of the dream. He has, you know, he has more money than anybody I know, and so he had the qualities that the role demanded. And if you forget that Sidney Poitier created the original, and so many folks just say, "I'm going to try to do what Sidney did," and Diddy didn't try to do that. Diddy brought his own honesty to it, which I think was closer to what an inner city guy would do in that situation. A guy who was a chauffeur, you know, he wasn't overly theatrical. He found honesty in the play, and again, just like that play with this, you know, Raisin had a great cast. You know, Audra McDonald, Sanaa Lathan. And this play has, you know, Denzel Washington, Viola Davis, Stephen McKinley Henderson, who's been doing this for 40 years, who's finally getting some attention and support for his. He's just a great actor because he doesn't act. He's just breathing and living the words, you know. So I'm on top of the world.
You are.
This is great.
And rightfully so. Fences, I'd never seen it before. It was brilliant. Right. And it was funny. As you said earlier, that was the big surprise. It's funny. Right. Hilarious.
Absolutely. There's a good balance of comedy and drama, you know. And that's why I always encourage the cast. We got to keep pushing it. We can't slow it down. We can't act between the words. You got to act on the words. And because if the audience thinks it's too funny, then when it gets to the serious parts, they'll feel like they're bored. So, and if you think it's too serious, then they won't laugh when you want them to laugh. So it's a delicate balance of that. And you need great actors to pull that off. And I got a great team.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you so much.